Hello, my name is Tristan Mays, and this is my Assessment 3 Performance Development presentation for Class EDU 607 for post-university. The project I have chosen to analyze for this assessment is my instrument building unit for the recycled orchestra that I do in 4th grade. Every year, at the end of the year, for my 4th grade students in my general elementary school music class, we read 2 books, Building an Orchestra of Hope and Ada's Violin. These 2 books revolve around the recycled orchestra of Catura, Paraguay. Catura, Paraguay is a town built on a landfill, and as a result and need for the children needing a music program, a group of recyclers and engineers created instruments using the trash found in this city. This unit culminates in the students building their own instrument out of recycled materials. Before we build anything, students will take time to collect recyclables. We will also study the science of how instruments work and how sound is created through different instrument demonstrations and other resources like brain pop videos. Once students have a thorough understanding of the different instrument families and how those sounds are created, they will then get to design their own instruments using the recyclables we have at hand, construct the instrument, and then do a presentation where they pitch their instrument creation to the recycled orchestra of Paraguay in an attempt to convince them to include their instrument in their orchestra. These are the standards that the project is based off of. These standards focus on reading and writing and performing music and understand interdisciplinary connections throughout the world of music. Learning targets are short, easy to understand statements written from the student's perspective that state what they will be accomplishing in the project. Learning targets are often divided into 4 separate categories. The knowledge target for this project is, I know the different instrument families well, so that way I can perfectly describe what type of instrument I've created. The reasoning learning target is, I can give a convincing presentation about why the recycled orchestra should include my instrument in their orchestra. The skill learning target is, I can perform a short piece of music written in standard notation on my instrument so that I can demonstrate my original instrument. And the product learning target is, I can create an instrument out of recyclables, write an original musical composition, and show it all in a well-planned presentation. At the beginning of this project, every student will receive a piece of paper you see on the slide in front of you. It has the title saying that the recycled orchestra is asking for help. The recycled orchestra of Paraguay needs your help designing new instruments for their next concert. You are a talented instrument inventor and have the opportunity to convince the orchestra to use your newest creation in their group. In order to convince them to include your instrument, you will need to do the following for them. Then this sheet breaks down the 3 criteria that the project is asking for. So first, they will need to design and build an instrument. Using recyclables found in your home and in the music room, create an instrument that fits into one of the 3 instrument families, strings, wind, or percussion. Then, you will need to compose and perform a piece of music. You need to compose a 4-measure piece of music using the notes that we use in class, and then practice that piece on your instrument so that way you can perform it perfectly for the orchestra. Finally, the student will need to present their instrument. Give a 2 to 3 minute presentation about why the orchestra should include your new instrument into the recycled orchestra. You should answer the following questions in your presentation. The following questions are, what is your instrument called? What is it made of? How do you play it? How did you put it together? What instrument family is it a part of? How do instruments in that family make sound? And what was challenging about making your instrument? By adding qualifications on each of these 3 criteria, students will know exactly what they need to do in order to succeed in this presentation. On the back side of the assignment sheet, students will also receive this written out rubric. The rubric has 4 criteria that will be assessed in the presentation. First, it will be instrument construction. In the instrument construction, it gives detailed explanations about how their instrument should work, what qualifies it as a good instrument, and what they need to do in order for it to earn 3 points. After that, they'll be assessed on their musical composition. It'll have the qualifications of what should be in their musical composition, how long it should be, what notes they should use. After their musical composition, there's the instrument presentation, which is qualified based on how accurately they perform the notes. And then the final qualification is presentation skills. The really cool thing about this rubric is that it is also interactive. Along with receiving a paper copy of this rubric, students will receive a digital copy as well through their Google Classrooms. And when on the digital copy, there is a hyperlink in 3 out of the 4 categories. For instrument construction, if you click the link in it, it brings you to a series of brain pop videos that show exactly how the different instrument families work. If you click the link in the musical composition, it brings you to noteflight.com, which is a free music notation software that they can use to compose their music. Finally, under the presentation skills section, brings you to an article that shows tips for kids on how to nail presentations in the classroom. Hopefully these resources connected to it will allow the students greater chances to succeed. Finally, after completing the rubric, worksheet, and assessment, I have made my assessment critique of my project for my 4th graders. For key number 1, I believe the goal of the project and the assessment is very clear. The skills and goals the students are achieving are very specific. To create the instrument, to perform it, they know exactly how long they need to perform it for and what they need to do to have a successful performance. For key number 2, the learning targets are very clearly laid out, and they represent important learning outcomes that align with the national core standards. For key number 3, this project has multiple aspects to it, so it will serve various learners in the classroom well, whether it's the hands-on construction of the instrument that would benefit the kinesthetic learners. Those who perform very well will excel at the presentation. The audio and visual learners will benefit from the composition. Those with more scientifically minded skills will benefit from learning about the instruments and how they make sounds themselves. For key 4, students are communicating very clearly what they have learned and how they are sharing it with the class. Those are all the requirements they have to make in their presentation. And for key number 5, students are given resources to improve their skills and then given the opportunity to develop them, whether it's writing a piece of music or in making sure their presentation is on par or that their performance of their music is also perfect. They have lots of time to practice, and they will then get to present them to their peers. These are all the sources that I used when creating this presentation and this assignment. Thank you so much for listening.